Today I'll cover 3 mental models Charlie Munger wished he knew when he was in his 20s and 30s. The 3 mental models I'll share are universal principles and ideas that are in front of your eyes all your life, but you are never able to see them in that way. Thanks to these mental models, you'll be able to make better decisions, create long-term wealth, and build long-lasting relationships. I'm going to give you an overview of all 3 mental models, and later on in this video I'll get to the details of each one and explain how I use them in my personal life and how you can do the same. We're going to talk about number 1, the law of inertia, number 2, the paradox of the seasons, and number 3, the rule of atrophy. You have probably already heard about the law of atrophy or the law of inertia, but I promise you that my interpretation will be completely different from what you've seen so far, so watch this video to the very end to find out. First, I'm going to start with the law of inertia. You probably heard about the law of inertia from your physics classes. It's also known as Newton's first law of motion. The law of inertia states that an object at rest will remain at rest. An object in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by an external force. The law of inertia says that things will be the way they are unless we apply some external force to them. And this does not apply only to objects or physics, but it also applies in my personal life and situations happening around me. And I'm going to give you an example. I believe it's very hard for people to change because they need to apply external force. They need to work hard towards achieving a goal or a life transformation. And I had a period when I wanted to start the YouTube channel, but for years I couldn't get myself to do it. I watched online courses and I bought the gear, but at the end of the day I always find excuses not to make YouTube videos. Here I can say that I was in a state of stillness, and if that makes sense, I was not in the motion of creating YouTube videos. And it took me tremendous power of will to get started. To make my first YouTube video, I needed to apply force to my laziness, procrastination, and all the excuses I gave myself. And I applied tremendous force to start. It was difficult to get started, but once I got started, I was in motion. I had momentum, and the YouTube videos became easier to make. And this is how the law of inertia applies in my personal life, but I also see examples and motives of the law of inertia in other aspects of my life. I find it very hard to start training. The first few weeks of training are just a nightmare, but if I start going to the gym consistently, it's very hard to stop because I need the same force to either stop doing things or start doing things. Once I begin, I'm in motion, and stopping requires the same energy equally to the energy I need to start. Probably you heard the Zen quote that the first step is half of the journey. It's because of the law of inertia. Now let's get back to you. How does the law of inertia applies in your life? What patterns do you see happening and repeating? I think you get the idea. The next mental model I want to share is the paradox of the seasons. In nature, we have winter, summer, fall, and spring, and those seasons consistently change, and the change of the seasons is like a rule. I know January will be freezing and August will be hot. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule, but we observe the cycle of seasons changing. This gives me the idea that I change with the seasons, but in reality I remain the same. As we already know from the law of inertia, I must apply force to change my current state. Here's the paradox of the seasons. Some things in life change, but I remain the same unless I apply force. And in my dating life, I met different girls. Those girls were from different cities, they had different backgrounds, but the outcome of those relationships was exactly the same because I was exactly the same person all the time. I did the same things and I repeated the same mistakes. Honestly, all those girls responded similarly to my identity. The interesting thing is that in many cases I blame it on the girls I met. However, still I was the person who had exactly the same outcome. In my life, the environment changed, people change, and jobs change. If I want to change the outcome, it's all about changing myself. That way I'll experience the seasons differently. And this is what I call the paradox of the seasons. Like I said, seasons come and go, they come and go in cycles. And in the same way, certain life events come and go in cycles. If I want to experience the cycles differently or completely remove them, it's all about for me to apply force to change myself first. The next mental model I will cover is the rule of atrophy. If I had to pull a definition from a dictionary, it will simply mean gradual decline in effectiveness. So things in life mainly decline in effectiveness. For example, you get older every day. If you buy a car, the rule of atrophy will apply and the car will depreciate in value. Things in general will depreciate in value, but some things will increase in value, but those things are very rare. For example, if you buy a car, let's say that you buy a 1986 Mercedes-Benz SL series, but you take really good care of this car. You take such a good care of this car that in 2050 the car looks exactly like new. This is a rare car and many people want to own it. If you were a good owner, you could sell the car for a very high price and you can still make profit. But you had to take extremely good care of the car over the years. The car still declines in effectiveness, but you can still sell it for profit, if that makes sense. Some assets increase in value and effectiveness, but those assets are very, very rare. In general, the rule of atrophy will apply to different areas of your life. It will apply to your health, to your relationships, maybe to your wealth. So, to minimize the effect of the rule of the atrophy, you really need to take good care of things. Most likely, they will still depreciate in value and effectiveness. So, if you're not taking care of something very, very good, most likely that thing will depreciate in value. For example, here's how the rule of atrophy affected my health. I was busy working. I did 12-hour work days. I didn't have time to eat healthily, and as a result, I gained some weight. I stopped paying attention to my health and I paid the price. The way you're a good owner of your brand new car, you still need to be a good owner of your health, relationships, and things you care about the most. Otherwise, the rule of atrophy will demolish them. This was the video for today. My name is Niko. In this channel, I talk about business, wealth, and marketing. I truly believe that if you use those mental models, you can get ahead in life and business. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you soon.